Hi, my name is Anirudh and welcome to Masterlife. In this video, we're going to try to give you a framework for finding your life partner. Okay, I know it sounds pretty radical to say I'm going to give you a framework, but this is something that I've tried to put together based on my experiences. So fundamentally, it's been broken down into four things. Okay, one is finding the right medium. Second is finding the compatibility overlap, okay, which is fundamentally your values. The third one is working on yourself, which is things above the surface and then below the surface. And finally is giving it time. Okay, so now let's take the first one, which is finding the right medium, right? If you look at let's kind of break it down into a graph. So let's say on the y-axis you had the probability of you meeting someone being really high, who could be a life partner, and on the x-axis it's the medium, right? If you think the probability of you finding someone who could be a life partner is highest where in schools, in colleges, in co-working spaces, right? Or at work. And these are all places where there's overlap of the way you look at money, the way you have your values, the way your interests are. You would see actually there's a lot more overlap there, and it actually brings a huge community together, which is quite self-selected, right? And then you can pick and choose who you like in that kind of that community and then date them. But as you go down that order, right, let's say it's a bar, right, or let's say it's dating apps, there is some overlap in interest, there is some overlap, but the likelihood of you being different is higher. Now don't get me wrong, I think differences are amazing, but fundamentally you need to have your day-to-day habits which overlap in terms of what you like, as well as your values overlapping. Okay, so that's the second thing which I want to talk about. You need to have overlap. Disclaimer, guys, I met my wife on Bumble, needle in a haystack, right? As much as I say the likelihood of you meeting someone on a dating app and getting married is extremely low, it happened to me, but we have extremely high compatibility, right? And when I say that, we like the same food, we like the same movies, right? We both love talking about each other's work, or rather learning about each other's work. We both have a growth mentality. But I think those are some of the similarities, but I think there are differences that we like to embrace too, in terms of the way we look at money, right? The way we think about, let's say, our parents, right? Or we think about friends, right? I think there are some differences there, and that's what keeps it also awesome. But fundamentally, our values and our core interests, which actually boil down to the micro behaviors, are primarily the same. Okay, so I spoke about the first thing is finding the right medium, and then finding someone who you have that overlap with on a day-to-day basis. The third one is working on yourself, which is above the surface and below the surface. Above the surface, let's say, is the thing that meets the eye, the way you look, the way you dress, the way you smell, right? And below the surface is primarily, let's say, your insecurities, your vulnerabilities, how confident you are. And I think it's very easy to tell. Like, people usually go like, you know what, man, like, I don't like the fact that people are superficial, right? I think you got to understand that people are superficial because we're genetically wired to think about it. So what you want to do is work on that. Dress better, smell better, work on your hygiene or grooming, right? And then you consistently continue working on yourself. And that's something over a period of time is going to help you attract people of your social rank or higher, right? If let's say you're someone who is working in a company, standard, or not in a company, let's say if you're just someone who wants to attract Deepika Padukone, you got to be at that level, right? For her to even notice your be or attract in that social rank. And then finally is giving it time, right? I think people make the mistake that when they start turning 26, 27, they start thinking about, oh my God, I got to settle down in 2 years. I got to find my wife in like the next couple of years, right? Or my husband. And I think when you start when you set a time limit on it, you become anxious. You start telling people that, you know what, like, let's say I go on a date, that anxiety shows. So assume it's going to take the next 10 years, right? But your fundamental responsibility is to actually bring your best self, is to stay positive, is to bring good energy. And I think when you do that, you'll automatically attract people around you. And finally, you got to put in the effort, okay? Make it a consistent habit to go out and do the things you love, okay? And while using the medium that you think is best suited for you, okay? So there's a worksheet which has different tips, different ideas, Feel free to have a look at it, and thank you for this class.